Hey, Jim Wanna here, and I've got a couple tips regarding topwater prop baits. Okay, it's a prop bait because you got a prop there and you got a prop there. So the first thing I want to say is there's a change in hooks that I like to do. Okay, this gold one is straight. This is straight out of the package. Okay, and now here's one where I've added an extra hook on the back, and let me just first point out the difference here. You see how I've got a longer shank treble on the back there? That creates a better distance or a greater distance and gap between the hook points and the propeller blade. The reason why I like that is because I always view that propeller blade as kind of an impediment to hooking the fish. It's just the blades can kind of get in the way of the hook points, and it's just something in the way. It's not a clean clean clearance to the hook points because that blade is in the way. So that's why I go with that longer shank hook on the back. You just create a little more gap, a little more distance from the prop blade to the hook points. There. Okay. Another way to create that gap, let's say you don't have a long shank treble. Well, you can always add a second split ring. You can do that. Or you can make what's called a braided line split ring. There's a YouTube video by my Richford teammate, Matt Stefan. I've seen him making braided split rings on one of his episodes. So I don't know how to do it. I haven't done it. I might have to watch that again because it might be worth trying. But that extra, with that braided split ring, you can actually, create your own distance that you're comfortable with. So that's number one, is changing that gap there in the back. Number two, you want to be sure to be using monofilament line with just about any topwater plug. Monofilament line floats, whereas fluorocarbon sinks. I don't like the actions I get off of my topwater plugs with my line sinking. Braided line can be a problem, and here's why. And this is important. Braided line is so supple that it can actually it comes back around this prop, and it'll wrap around that prop and just kill that prop and freeze it in place. And I don't like that. I want to get that little flutter splash off of that front prop as well as the back prop. And also that it can kink the line there too. So monofilament is the way to go. Not only that, but make sure you go with a heavy enough line on monofilament. This is 12 pound. That's what I go for a minimum on this kind of a bait. And it's for the same reason that I avoid braided line. With like 8 or 10 pound monofilament, you get a tendency, because that's more supple. Lighter the monofilament, the more supple and more pliable it is. And just because that lighter line, 8, 10 pound, 6 pound, it'll just have that same tendency to wrap around that blade and mess up the blade, that front blade. The other thing is even with 12 pound, that's going to happen. It does happen on occasion, and when it happens, a lot of times you end up with like a permanent little curl right there, and so then the tendency for that to continue to happen with each cast is much greater. So when it happens once, a lot of times I'll just cut the line and retie it. I might first try to like pull it really hard to kind of get that memory out of there, of that coil. But usually after a couple of times of it wrapping back on that prop, it calls for a retie on that. So last thing I want to say about prop baits is the props themselves. Usually right out of the box, they're good to go. But after you catch a few fish, maybe you net one or something, well, these props can get caught in the net's netting, and they can get bent and misaligned. So just keep an eye out for that. The best way to put them back in a line for me is I always have 2 needle nose pliers in my boat. So I'll just clamp down on one side of the prop and with one needle nose, then clamp down on the other side, and then just twist it and bend it back into the proper shape that gives you the best swooshing with the prop. So anyways, and I do love using these things. I've caught a lot of fish on prop baits, various styles, not just this one. So fun way to fish, smallmouth, largemouth. You know, I don't think I've ever used them much in spotted bass situations, but caught a lot of fish on them. So those tips will make you even a better angler with these types of baits. More efficient and better hookups. Thank you.